Inside this tank is a deserted world, full of mysterious creatures big and small. This desert has secrets inside that we must uncover, from dangerous predators to defensiveless prey. Each will have to evolve to their ever-changing conditions, from wind to rain. I transformed it from a deserted tank into a thriving lush ecosystem. But to find out how we got here, we have to go back to day one. It all started with an empty tank, lots of materials, and some cacti. And with that, it was time to build the desert. Planting the cacti was a huge pain due to the extremely sharp spikes, but I managed to create a lush desert environment. Not bad. Day 2 arrived and the desert needed something to kickstart this ecosystem and begin the simulation. Meet the isopods, dairy cow isopods. They get their name because they look like miniature cows. But that's not the only isopod I'm adding to this desert. I'm also adding zebra isopods too. Zebras are a lot smaller than cow isopods, but the more the better. I added the dairy cows in first and they got to work straight away trying to find a new home. I then added the zebra isopods a few minutes later. One thing about the zebras is they're a lot slower than the cow ones, but either way are extremely beneficial to this ecosystem. They will go around the desert feeding on dead plant matter and waste, but will also be a nice treat for what we have in store later. Day 10 had arrived and the isopods were in full force. They were busy than ever making sure the desert was clean, but it was time to add something else to help them clean up the desert. Buffalo beetles. These tiny but extremely fast beetles will help feed on any dead bugs or animals left behind by the desert heat. There's even a buffalo beetle larva here that will eventually turn from a worm into a beetle. Since I added some beetles, it would only make sense if I added some more. This time, a little bigger and much more interesting. Meet the blue death feigning beetle. Now I know one of them looks dead, but these beetles can do some amazing things, like play dead when they're scared. Maybe I should give them a room? I added the first one in and he seemed to be scared and didn't really want to explore on his own. So I added his friend and straight away they both went off to explore the desert together. Now not only can these beetles fake their own death, but they have extremely thick armor which protects them from predators and makes them immune to the spikes on cacti. Not only that, but their massive abdomen helps by storing water, which is extremely helpful in the desert. Day 45 had arrived and the ecosystem was slowly moving along, but with a new day comes a new animal. Something big was about to arrive into the desert. The armored darkling beetle. This beetle is a lot like the blue beetles, but a lot bigger. Not only that, but they're extremely slow with their movement because of their size. The beetles slowly explored the desert, but one of them started to dig under a plant. Something was coming and this beetle knew. I think it was time to introduce a predator, something that will make short work of a beetle or an isopod. Its powerful stinger will inject venom into its prey, which paralyzes the prey. This is the hairy desert scorpion. After placing him into the desert, he got work straight away on exploring the new place. Or maybe he was trying to find something to hunt. The blue beetles ran in fear of the scorpion appearing in the desert. They did not want to become a meal for the scorpion, but because the beetles are so strong, the scorpion literally ignores them. It's clear the scorpion was trying to find a cave or a place to start digging, and with good reason, as the next few days are about to change in the desert completely. On day 70, the heat in the desert was starting to get extremely hot. Life on top of the desert was struggling to survive due to the intense heat. The death beetles played dead, while the other beetles were nowhere to be seen. Even the scorpion had disappeared. But if we take a look underground, the scorpion was escaping the desert heat. He made a cave, his new home, to wait out the desert heat. And as night falls, the scorpion comes out to hunt. Under UV light, he glows a very bright radioactive green. This was prime time for him to hunt. On day 75, things were about to completely change in the desert. After a few days of intense heat, the wind started to get strong. The beetles ran for cover while getting pushed around, and seemingly out of nowhere, an extremely rare storm was about to happen. As morning came, so did the animals out of hiding. They all came out to get a drink and a fresh look at what the storm had done. The storm had created an oasis. And inside the water, things were swimming around. On day 87, the Oasis ecosystem was in full swing. A Rose of Jericho has started to grow in the water, but not only that, there was also loads of tiny little creatures swimming around in the water. And as the days went on further, the rose grew completely. Some of the bugs even used the rose as a way to get around the water. The water also started to clear up, giving us a much better view at how many creatures were swimming around in there. And by day 100, there was a population boom. There were hundreds of tiny little creatures taking over the oasis. This would serve as the foundation for the desert to continue to thrive for the rest of time. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos. I'd love to upload more, but videos are expensive, so a like goes a long way. I'll see you in the next one.